Tony Datino. Another Friday is coming here. It's unbelievable how fast these weeks are going by. And we look at the calendar, and what does it say? June the 10th. And how fast the time is going by as we move through the year 2022 and all the craziness that's going on. And COVID is bringing itself back up, and off we go. Unfortunately, we just finished a four-part brain power series, and wanted to share with you some of the feedback we got from the people that attended that seminar. We had some really active, really excited seniors in some cases, and uh, some middle-aged folks in others, and some of the racquetball players that just enjoyed the series tremendously. So what's the first thing they got? One of the major things they got, which was they didn't realize there were things they could do to improve their memory. Now, I still wonder, like, why do we even have so many people that don't realize there are things you can do to improve your memory? My God, this is what the U.S. Memory Championship has been all about for 22 years. And the people that have come have not all been what we call brainiacs. They have been men and women of normal ilk that have just decided they were going to learn what they needed to do to improve their memory. They might have read a book, they may have heard it, they may have seen this on television, or may have seen this on the internet. So the first point they got was there's something they can do to improve their memory. All is not failed and all is not lost. So that's a big takeaway from the series we have. Another thing that we learned, that they felt was important is, and I used to think this, which is you can never use up all of your memory. You don't have to worry about using it all up and having run out of storage space. And some of them even said, some of their kids tell them that when they go to school and stuff. So why do we learn some of these things? We're going to need to save some of the space as we get older. I don't know if kids just have got that line, but boy, that was an interesting process in terms of what we learned. They learned a bit about what we call memory rhythms. How do we take information and go from learning it in the short term and retaining it for long-term comprehension and utilization? So that was in the first session we did. We call that Memory 101. Those were some of the takeaways, and there were a group more, but those were the majority of people, which then leaves them with the fact that there's hope, and that brought them back to lessons 2, 3, and 4 with a light of excitement and wanting to learn. They were like sponges, just wanting to learn as much as they could as we went through each session. They were fabulous in recalling lesson 2. Those were the 6 key factors for brain fitness. They nailed all 6 of them. And what they were all talking about was the fact that they may not be all running on a round tire. And so many of them were talking about flat tires. Sleep was one of the biggest challenges. And I guess, God, sleep is something we know we need to get. It does create a challenge for some of us, be it the stress in our life and not knowing how to build the resilience, and maybe meditation, doing Tai Chi, I have read, is something that's really been good. But they got all 6. They felt that by the fact that they come to the pickleball club, they're getting exercise, and they're doing that twice a week. Some of them do walking after dinner and things. So they are aware of exercise, which is great. Nutrition, they acknowledge that nutrition is important, so they got that, but they don't all feel that they're eating always in the most nutritious manner. We talked about stress. So stress and how to build resilience. And as some of them pointed out, there's good stress. There are stresses in your life that help you grow. And that is absolutely true. So we do have stress in our life that helps us grow. But we also have stress in our life that floods the cortisol in our body and begins to destroy our immunity systems and really is not good for us. So there's that balance in terms of stress that we've got. They love the social interaction. We keep talking about that. That came out of the Brain Fitness Academy feedback that we had on Monday. Well, Wednesday night, we're getting similar feedback. The social interaction. When we taught them on the lesson of names and faces, they just thought that was fantastic. They had fun, they laughed, and they've been out practicing remembering the names and faces of new people that they meet or people they meet at the store, just to practice the exercise of how you remember names and faces. And have it hard to believe that our mental athletes can remember well over 100 names and faces over a period of 15 minutes. And so we've invited some of them to attend the live event that we are doing here in Winter Park, Florida at Full Sail University. So we invited a few of the non-believers to come to that event and check it out and see what goes on at the USA Memory Championship this year. Oh God, I'm missing one. Nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress, social interaction. What the heck am I missing? My goodness, my memory. So I'm missing one. Brain challenge, my goodness, how could I forget this? Mental challenges. Mental challenges. So what are the mental challenges that we put ourselves through? What mental exercises that they do? And they were very eager. They felt that the course itself, the 4 parts of the course, were mentally challenging, and the fact that they were learning and applying and utilizing. And so now it was a matter to just take one of the things you've learned in this session and go out and apply it to your life. The third session we had was remembering names and faces, and they thought that was a really fun exercise. They in fact laughed as they were reviewing what we taught them at that. Michael Dattino does a fabulous job in teaching people how to remember names and faces. He's done a superb job in putting together the material on that and giving them to have fun. And so the first thing that we taught, and he gave them the simple version of it, which on this evening, was first of all, you want to be intentional. You want to be intentional about paying attention. And so I always liken it to when you go park your car. If you're not being intentional about paying attention the way you park it, you're going to forget it. Or you're not going to find it really quick when you go back, especially if it's in a big parking lot. If you're the only car there, it's not a problem. But in terms of remembering someone's name, first thing you want to do is make sure you want to remember their name. And that form requires you to pay attention. So now when you hear it or you see it, if they have a badge or a badge on, I love to see the badge because I love the spelling. It helps me right away. And the first thing you want to do is repeat their name back to them. And there's nobody ever been insulted by doing 2 things. First of all, hey, I want to make sure that was Jim. Yeah, and you spell Jim, J-I-M. So you're saying it back as well as spelling each of those letters, and you're imprinting each of those letters onto your brain. The next thing you want to do is obviously then utilize it in a conversation with them. So Jim, that was pretty interesting. I really like the points that you made. Mary, what do you think about what Jim had to say during the course of the feedback that we got? And so you want to at least use it 3 times in a very logical, sensible way. And that helps your brain to figure out, God, my brain's working. I'm bringing sentence structure together. I'm having a nice conversation about Jim. I introduced Mary into the conversation. And by the way, Bill is also a part of this dialogue because he's connected to Mary. So you have a dialogue going on with people that's very interactive and very social and a lot of fun. So you then, last but not least, you want to make links and connections to it, right? We're linking, connecting mechanisms. So we want to link it and connect it to something that we already know. Maybe another Jim we know, maybe a Jim, J-Y-M, a G-Y-M as a Jim, but it's J-I-M in this case. And so we want to do that. And then, of course, we finished up with our famous mind mapping introduction to the man by the name of Henry. And they absolutely loved the Henry example. They were able to retain and recall Henry for us. They were able to then create their own maps of things that were important to them. And we wrapped up a fabulous 4-part series. And the people there just loved it and couldn't thank us enough. But what I basically told them is thank your sponsors here for your Pictoner Pickleball Club. And certainly from the folks at Advent Health that thought this would be something of value to the community. Now, quickly, the Memory Championship this year, July 30 qualifying. We have Memory League and Lumosity, each with 3 games. Anyone that wants to participate in that signs up, they register. As they register, they will get access to the necessary activities to practice, and off they go. We have people that will compete then on July 30th virtual, and the finalists will be coming to Orlando, Florida, and we'll be holding it at Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. So off we go and have a great weekend, and we shall see you next Monday. Have a super weekend and stay safe. And COVID is coming back around, so be careful.